Hello students. Now our next topic is oblate spheroid. As we know that the shape of the earth is not a perfect sphere. It is an oblate spheroid. That means that earth bulges at the center and it is flat at the poles. It bulges at the center and it is flat near the poles. As the diameter of equator is 12,756 kilometer near the equator, and at the pole its diameter is 12,714 kilometers, which shows a very minor difference. Means the difference is only of 42 kilometers. The difference is only of 42 kilometers. This difference is generated due to the centrifugal force. Now, one more question will come in your mind, that what is centrifugal force? Centrifugal force is the force generated due to the rotation of earth at very great speed. The force generated by the rotation of earth at great speed. Okay? Due to this centrifugal force, earth bulges near the equator and it is flattened near the poles. Okay, so the shape of the earth is an oblate spheroid and it is also known as geoid. Geoid means earth shape. Okay, geoid means earth shape. The next topic is earth as the home for mankind. Earth as the home for mankind. So what are the conditions which makes earth as an habitable planet? Okay, what are the conditions which makes earth as an habitable planet? First one is the optimum distance or distance from the sun. As we know that earth is the third planet, or according to its distance it lies on the third position from the sun. So its optimum distance, it is neither too hot nor too cold. Okay, so it's neither too hot nor too cold. So this distance makes the life possible on earth. Okay, so the next condition is temperature. Average temperature of earth is 17 degrees Celsius. Okay, the average temperature of earth is 17 degrees Celsius. Mercury and Venus are the planets according to their distance. They are first. Mercury is the first planet and Venus is the second planet. Okay, they are more than 400 degrees Celsius. The temperature of Mercury and Venus is more than 400 degrees Celsius. Other planets after Earth, their temperature is freezing point or below the freezing point. Okay, now a comparative study between Venus and Mercury. When you'll see Venus and Mercury, Venus is the second most planet from the sun. Okay, and Mercury is the first planet. Then also Venus is more hotter than Mercury. Why? Because in the atmosphere of Venus, there is more concentration of carbon dioxide, and as we know that carbon dioxide is one of the greenhouse gases which increases the temperature and hence it makes greenhouse effect, occurs there. That is why the planet Venus is more hotter than Mercury. Okay, and in Earth's atmosphere the level of carbon dioxide is low. That is why it makes the suitable climate, the suitable environment for living, or it is an habitable climate. Atmosphere. See our atmosphere, the concentration of major gases in our atmosphere are nitrogen, that is 78%, oxygen, that is 21%, carbon dioxide, helium, argon, they are other gases, their concentration is 1%. Okay, so the atmosphere is heated, as we know that sun's radiation reaches the earth's surface. So the atmosphere is heated by solar radiation and it is cooled by earth's radiation, that is terrestrial radiation. Terrestrial means land. So the radiation emitted by the surface of Earth, that is terrestrial radiation. Due to solar radiation and terrestrial radiation, the heat balance is maintained on the surface of Earth. Okay? And the Earth's atmosphere consists of ozone layer. Ozone layer is present in stratosphere layer of the atmosphere. Okay? And this ozone layer protects us from harmful ultraviolet radiations of the sun. The harmful ultraviolet radiations of the sun are not reaching to the surface of Earth due to the presence of ozone layer. If this layer would not have been there, then we would have received a major concentration of UV radiations of the sun, and then due to this UV radiation, there are major problems, that is skin cancer, cataract. Okay. Fourth one, water. The Earth's surface is covered with 70% of water. Okay. The surface of Earth is covered with 70% of water, and this water is responsible for the hydrological cycle and water cycle occurring on the surface of Earth. Now, what is hydrological cycle or water cycle? As we have studied in the lower classes, we all have studied in the lower classes that the three processes, that is evaporation, condensation and precipitation. Okay. What is evaporation? When the heat of the sun falling on the surface of Earth and other water bodies, the water converts itself or changes its form from water to water vapor. This process is known as evaporation. And when this water vapor goes into the space, it condenses on minute dust particles that are known as condensation nuclei. And when these particles condense in the atmosphere above, then these tiny droplets of water, this process is known as condensation. And when this tiny droplets of water join together and they form cloud, and this cloud become too heavy to be carried over, to be floated over the sky, they fall down as rain, snow, sleet, hail, etc. This is known as precipitation. So all the three processes, evaporation, condensation and precipitation, is known as water cycle or hydrological cycle. Through this, balance is maintained on the surface of Earth. Okay? As we all know that water absorbs heat during the day, and it gives away the heat during the night. Okay? Like this, the balance is maintained. The next point is solid crust. Lithosphere. Lithosphere means land. Okay? Lithosphere is land. The upper portion or the first layer of the Earth's surface. First layer of the Earth's surface is lithosphere. What is weathering? Weathering leads to the surface formation. Weathering is the tiny breaking of the rock particles into tiny particles. The breaking of the rock particles into tiny particles, rock particles, are known as weathering. And when this weathering, due to this weathering, after this weathering, when denudation takes place, denudation is the transfer of this minute particles over the surface of the land, then it leads to the formation of soil. And soil is responsible for plant life, and it is responsible for the growth of plant, and due to which it supports all form of animal life also. Okay, so the presence of lithosphere enables Earth to be a habitable planet. Okay, the next one is biosphere. The three realms of Earth, that is atmosphere, lithosphere and hydrosphere. Atmosphere is air, lithosphere is land, and hydrosphere is water. The interaction between these three realms of atmosphere is known as biosphere. Biosphere is classified into two parts, that is plant kingdom and animal kingdom. Okay. So biosphere also enables or makes Earth as a habitable planet to live in. Okay. The next is life-giving cycles. The two cycles are discussed in your book, that is nutrition cycle and carbon cycle. Nutrition cycles shows us the interdependence of living and non-living organisms. Okay? Living organisms are producers, consumers and decomposers. And this nutrition cycle operates through photosynthesis, transpiration and respiration. Producers are plants, consumers are herbivores and carnivores, decomposers are bacteria, fungi, that you know. Okay? So interdependence of living and non-living organisms is nutrition cycle. And producers are plants, plant produces food, consumers consume it and decomposers decompose it. This cycle goes on and off, means it is a never-ending cycle which goes on, and it takes place through food chain also. Okay. The next cycle is carbon cycle. Carbon is present in all living things and it is also present in atmosphere as carbon dioxide. It is present in plants and it is used in plants in the process of photosynthesis. Any imbalance of carbon leads to global warming. What is global warming? When the temperature of the earth increases, which also leads, global warming also leads to the melting of ice caps, etc. Okay. So carbon cycle is the occurrence of carbon in the atmosphere. Then its replenishment, means replenishing, means replacing of carbon on and off, means this cycle continues. The carbon is is found in living things, then it is found in our atmosphere also, and then it goes, the cycle continues. So all these means all these things, all these 6 points are the major points, which are the major conditions by which the life is possible on earth. Okay. Thank you everyone. By this topic, our first chapter is complete and we'll meet in the next video. Thank you.